So this is one potential layout for the, can't quite see everything if it's in there. I think that's everything in there. For the stem, stern knee, two posts, and the piece in the with the stem pieces is 8/4. The one with the tiller and the rear curved post for the centerboard trunk, it's only 5/4, but it's a little bit more, so I'm gonna treat it gently and keep it, it's about, it may not be thick enough and I may have to break into that 2-inch board. This way I get to have, and then of course this piece here is the bed log. Now the bed log is slab sawn, and these other two pieces are 1/4 sawn. I had originally planned to take the posts and the stern knee out of these slab sawn green, these guys right here. I've got 6 of them, and then here are the other ones down here, the other end of them. These guys are 16 feet, 1.5. So I may have to take the that rear centerboard post out of this material instead, but we'll see. That's primarily for frames and even though I'm not happy about having the keel out of slab sawn lumber. It's the only green lumber I could get a hold of easily. So that's the plan so far. But anyway, so this gives us an estimate of what we're going to do. So here's plan B, which I think the only difference is swapping the lower stem end for end so that the skinnier part is up near the stern knee. I tried to put stuff in here and it just doesn't work. I mean, it would work and the pieces would be the same thickness, but and maybe that's what I'll do. I guess in a sense I could do that and then cut this diagonally across here. I could probably cut this down a little bit and cut this down along there, because this piece, the residual is going to be used for, it's going to be cut in half. It's a 2-inch piece, so I'll cut it to 1, and it's going to be used for floor timbers, 7/8 floor timbers. So I'm going to have lots of diagonal cuts anyway. So that might be the better thing to do. And I would probably cut this one out first and make sure that I can keep these at 1 1/4, because if they won't stay at 1 1/4, I got to do something else anyway. Anyway, decisions. So I've cut out these boards. The one on the right with the pointy end is the 2-incher, and that will get the stem and the stern knee. And the one on the left is 1 3/8, and I'm going to try and keep it at 1 1/4. I'm probably just going to plane a tiny bit off of it, but it's going to be the posts for the centerboard and the tiller, and so I'll start fiddling around with that and plane them, and then pull the bandsaw out. And I just set up these stands, nice stands, allow me to work by myself. So, on to a new phase. So I set up my DeWalt planer. What model is this? 735. I think it's 735. Anyway, it worked great. I milled the 2-inch piece down to 1 3/4. There's a problem with that I'll mention in a moment. And I practiced on this old 2x6, 2x8, whatever the heck this is, just to check it out. And then I broke out the bandsaw and generated a lot of dust. And so I got a big cleanup tomorrow. But there are all the patterns that were used. And I received a 8-inch spiral cutter head planer from Grizzly today. Joiner, rather. And so the preliminary cuts are all there. So there are the posts up at the top, the tiller, which is all this kind of hacked up, and there's the pieces of the stem. They need to be trimmed a little bit, but we're real close. And the stern knee needs to be resawn down to it's 1 3/4. It needs to go to 1 1/2. Although I could always leave it full size, but anyway, that's a minor issue. What I should have done is I should have cut this out of the 2-inch before I planed it down, because I have a measuring implement. Here is the thing, and it's well, I guess it's going to be okay. But it's a little narrow here. But I got a lot of shaping to do on this. But and then, as I said, these are a little bit proud here. I left a little extra, and there as well. So these have to be adjusted. But it was, if you'll notice, where is it? No, I've cut it off. A little, because this piece was, I needed to keep it at 1 1/4 for these guys. This and the tiller and the post got cut out of the same piece. There was a little section of this that was rough, but that ended up getting trimmed out. But bottom line is, that planer is just beautiful in cutting this stuff, and the bandsaw, I've got a 3/2-inch 3 TPI blade, and it was just wonderful. My technique needs some work, but I've in most cases, I've left enough wood that I can fix it with sanding and planing and bears oh my. Anyway, tomorrow is bed logs, and also still working on these. These are the outsides of the centerboard trunk. They've been sealed, 2 coats of easy sealer, and I've got to clean that up, but then they're going to get fiberglass on the inside, and then cut up the bed log and put those puppies together. Anyway, more later. So, since I've been finding sapwood on some of my other wood, I went and looked through my pieces that I just cut out, and this is the upper piece of the stem, and what do you know, there's a huge chunk of sapwood. And this thing came out of this board, and there you go, some nice sapwood. And it continues on here. It's even worse on the other side. So here's the rig I set up. This is a old 2x6 I practiced planing on and trimmed some pieces off. So I clamped it to this piece so it wasn't going to go anywhere, and clamped this to the table so it wasn't going anywhere, and clamped this square down as a fence, and cut through this. I use this one because I got a nice 60-tooth crosscut blade on this saw. But there's the new layout. I made sure to stay away from the sapwood. But so I took this stuff out. It was still rough, and I planed it down to just a little bit more than 1 3/4. And it's beautiful wood. I mean, you know, look at the medullary rays all over the place. Quarter sawn. Well, once you stay away from the sapwood, you're in good shape. I probably would have been okay because this is it's outside the rabbet. There's the rabbet line, and then the bearding line's back here somewhere. So this is going to get chopped off mostly. But I'm going to put bolts through this. I don't want it to compress over time. It just no, it had to be fixed. Anyway, so one step, was it 2 steps backwards, 1 step forward, or vice versa, something like that. Anyway, the gear's working out really well. That's good. But more later. Bye-bye.